Welcome to the Jeep trailer build. I'm bringing you in a little bit late. I wasn't going to video it, but decided we're going to record it. What we've done is we've cut the tail ends off of two old scrap Jeeps. This is actually TJ tubs, and we've decided originally that we were going to have them meet each other directly in the center of the wheel wells, which is why this is all marked. And of course, after we set it all up on the stand here, we decided that we wanted a little bit longer and decided to cut the floor pieces back out, get the pieces back from the edges so we can keep the profile. And we're going to make this thing approximately 5.5 feet long. And the determining factor for that was both the extra space that we wanted. We're pulling it behind an LJ, which is a longer tub TJ version, and we want to be able to put a few extra pieces of equipment in this. And the other thing that determined the fact that we wanted a little bit longer is we decided that we want to use as much of the original Jeeps as possible. So we kept both roll bar sections, hacked them off, made it a little easier. But we're going to keep the front hoop, which is this section here. We're going to keep that and use that as the roll bars on the sides of the Jeep. Use these cross pieces, connect them in the middle as cross sections. It's going to cause the roll bars to lean in just slightly, and it'll give us mounting positions for fuel cans or spare equipment, whatever we want, that can sit up on the sides of the Jeep, and we won't have to reach inside or uncover anything else. It's kind of where it's at right now. The yellow tub's pretty rough. Got a lot of repair work to do in it. Almost not worth salvaging, but because we salvage everything here, we're going to salvage it. And just give you an idea of what we've done to start is there's a couple old pieces of 4x4 and some 2x4s. We just lined it all up on the floor here, created a little stand, because when we brought the tubs in, they were quite a bit longer than this. We had everything from underneath the seats back, so we set them up facing each other and started cutting. Those 4x4s are nice and strong. They'll hold it up nice and straight. It allowed us to get everything in position here. We've used some old angle iron. It's actually old bed rails, and found the straight edges along the sides, which make the nice straight sides on the trailer. That's going to allow the profiles to line up, because creating this profile, if I had to recreate this, it's a pain in the butt. The other thing it did is also held the floor up nice and flat. So once we start putting some of that sheet metal back in, unfortunately we have to, it'll help us to get it nice and straight. So the corners over here are going to line up nice and straight now, because we're holding everything secure at the top. So next step for this build, to keep it nice and cheap and keep it simple, is we're actually going to build the roll bars first. We're going to build both hoops, get them in position, reattach the plates, which, as I said, we keep everything. So we're going to cut off the old tubes and figure out the heights, because we want to have approximately 16 inches. So we're going to cut these off just slightly below, right around where that tape is, just so that these mounting positions are above the rail. We want to have them accessible without being in behind anything. That's going to determine the height of this, to keep it nice and simple. Once we have those pads in a place where we can reattach them, we're going to cut the roll bars off at the right height, put the pads in position, set the roll bars on it, scribe the proper angles on them, because it's a whole lot easier to do when it's sitting in the tub. So I think what we've decided is we want to keep a couple of pieces on these bottoms. Instead of making new plates, which would be super easy, there's a nice lug in the bottom of this that's threaded already. It used to be a seat belt lug, and that would be a real nice piece for putting an eye bolt or something of the like through for tying down more gear. These are the bottoms of the roll bars, and they sit right in the corners of the tub. So we're going to position them back in there, and I think the easy answer for this, to give us a nice height, is going to be take about 3 inches, which gets us just above this dimpled in part. We're going to cut them off using a chop saw, get them nice and straight, and then we'll set them back in place, and we'll bring the bars down to them, and we'll just wrap it around. Nobody's riding in this trailer. There's no seat belts attached to it. It's simply gear. So wrapping a weld around this too. I'm not that concerned about it. I don't think it's going to have any life safety issues, and will be quite strong. And then we'll put them back in position. Once the roll bars are in position, they will assist in holding this tub square. So between the angle iron and the roll bars, this thing won't move. That'll give us the stability we need to put the sheet metal back in and then do all the cleaning work. Okay, here we are back again. I've been doing a little bit of work on this trailer, trying to put it back together. So since the last segment of this video, what we did is we added the pieces back in that we'd cut out when we decided we were going to have the trailer shorter. So we've lengthened it the extra foot now to get it to 5.5 feet. And as you see in here, we've taken the original floor pieces. It's a lot of work, but we were able to stitch the floor pieces back together and get the floor so that the ribs in the floor are continuous like the original floor. I didn't want to just put plain sheet metal in there. Doesn't really matter, but so then the next thing is we cut some rust out. We had a little bit of rust on the inside of the fender, typical of a Jeep, and of course right inside the wheel well it was rusty. This is going to be the front of the tub, so we're not concerned about the structure. We just wanted it for the profiles, and yeah, it needs a little bit of work. So we do have to rebuild underneath the roll bar mount. It rotted away. And you guys about up here in the north, this is normal. So anyways, we cleaned off some of the rust. This is the other side that we extended, and back of the tub. So the next step, what I worked on this morning, was putting this little patch in on the inside of the fender well, because you can't just leave rust. And I've been working on cutting a patch to fit this right here. This will be cut to match the wheel well, and I'm going to stitch that in next. Patch. General idea, once you start stitching it, then I got these little holes I drilled across. They're going to be plug welds, just like the original, or sorry, well, spot welds, but just like the original body, how you attach it. We're going to seam seal the inside of this. Once again, this is the spoon, so when you see spaces like these gaps, I can fill those without the spoon, but this yellow tub is paper thin in some spots. So when you see a gap like that and you put the spoon in behind it, you can see the spoon covers it, and then the weld does not stick to the spoon because it's copper and it won't weld to that. You just lift it off, but it's still conductive, so it helps to keep the weld in the right spot. Anyways, I'm just going to carry on with this for a little bit. Try to get this patch done and this patch done this morning. Whoops. And maybe move on to the other side and do the same patch on the other side. Then later today I'm going to try to build these contoured pieces. They're a little bit more work. I got some cleanup to do. So you can follow along if you want. I'm going to try my best to piece it together. I'm not a videographer, so be patient with this shaky camera. And enjoy this budget trailer build.